Good morning from me, B. This morning I want to talk about the need and the reasons why in almost all of my material that you will find, I talk about going legacy, long term, and working backwards. Why, rather than focusing too much on the now, the present, it's key that we understand the direction we're going in. Now, if you listen to many self help or the majority of self help content, they talk about a ship and understanding your port. I get that. I understand that. For me, it's more about legacy. I mentioned it yesterday. I'm going to continue to mention it, continue to invite you to go away, search online, and understand more about how you plan for your legacy. Again, you can just head over to the trusty Google and search Benjamin Bonetti legacy statement to find out more. But for today, I want to talk about really the reasons why I believe it's key. Another of the important aspects to consider is why you're doing what you do. Why are you projecting that? Is it as a result understanding you to a deeper point, to a level of which is undisputable, or are you doing what you want to please another? For most, it's the latter. They're doing what they want to please another, not doing what they want to experience that future level of fulfillment. You look at social pressures, nice car, nice house, you fall short of that, then it suggests that you are or are not a certain type of individual. Now, reflecting on that and addressing that, we know that's not to be true. An individual is not and should not be categorized as a result of what they have, but rather who they are. I think most intellectuals can agree upon that, good or bad, simple. You can be bad with money, you can be good with money. So the reason it's key, fundamentally key, that you work end to present and not present to end, is when you establish actually what you want for your own personal growth, fulfillment. As I said, keep remaining to say, on your last breath, you can reflect upon your life and say that it is exactly as you designed, and you sense that inner fulfillment, then you've done the right. So the invitation is go to that point, work backwards to the present moment. Now, one thing that most people don't know about me, or if you're picking this up for the first time, you would probably not suspect to be the case, is I was in the military. But before the military, I had a very keen interest in shooting, distance shoot. Now, it's a sport, it's a discipline that I've continued to enjoy up until this day. Continue to shoot, enjoy the principle, I suspect, the geekiness of the whole process. I reload my ammunition, calculate all of the powders that go into the brass, the cases, and I look at trajectory. Now, that is nuts and bolts. That's nuts and bolts of the art or the discipline of shooting. You don't need to go to that level or that extreme of understanding the difference between case diameters. You don't need to understand thousandths of an inch and how that can affect the positioning or the load depth of a case into the chamber of a rifle. You don't need to understand. You can buy off the shelf, and there's no right or wrong way of doing it. It's a personal choice. However, that is nuts and bolts. That is the finer detail that some people go to understand, to enjoy their discipline. There is no right and wrong, personal choice. However, those finer details, those finer nuts and bolts, even to the small fractional margins of adjustment that you need to make, the elevations you need to make as a result of wind or height. You're shooting down, it's very different. The trajectory is incredibly different to if you are shooting uphill. So all of these have an effect on the strike, the impact point, the end result, the legacy. Now, if we apply that to life, the principles are very much the same. End result, you need the target, you need the destination, you need the impact point. Where are you headed? And then you work backwards, because it doesn't matter how refined your ammunition will, no matter how refined or how deep your knowledge goes, how much wisdom you have, how much money you have. If there is no target, if there is no end result, then you could shoot in any direction. And the likelihood is that you're never going to. Now, you don't need to know nuts and bolts. You don't need to know the seating depth, AOL, or any other information at a deeper level. You could start midway up. You could could start with rifle, ammunition, ear defenders, target. You're still going to be much better suited than an individual that has no target, shoots randomly in various directions in the hope in an attempt to hit something. The same could be said if you go to a financial advisor. They will ask you, what are your intentions for retirement, long term? Then they work backwards to the present moment and say, well, this is what you need to be saving on a daily basis in order to be living that lifestyle. Some get it wrong. Some get it seriously wrong. Some don't take into consideration elevation or the change in wind. There are going to be aspects of even shooting that cannot be controlled, elements outside of your control. But it's important, and that is why I constantly repeat, constantly invite people to go long, understand the bigger picture, and focus once you have that objective on what you want to do. Because until you reach that point, until you know what you're aiming for, until you know the impact point, the destination, the target, you'll be investing hours and hours in pointless and menial tasks in the hope to distract yourself from the reality that you have no destination. That is the invitation. Spend the time, invest that time today, right now, understanding where you're headed and for whose benefit, and then spend perhaps 15, 20 minutes reflecting in the present moment and deciding for yourself how far and how specific you need to be in the present moment. And I think this is one of the things that most within this industry get wrong. They say it's about the specifics. It is. It's about the specifics in the present, but it's not about the specifics long term. Know what you want, by all means. You want to live in the south of France on a beach, that's good enough. How much does that cost? Understand the detail of it. Understand what that looks like, by all means. But the specific in the present is more important than the specific in the future. That's the invitation today. For now, peace out, be safe.